Hello everyone, today we are back on my guide. The last video I stopped Act 2 and on this video we are going to look for Act 3, Act 1 as cruel difficulty and Act 2 as cruel difficulty. As you can see right now I'm level 58 and I'm Act 2 on cruel difficulty towards the end, and my build is extremely strong. I'm carrying my friend that is very often playing with me, so the game is scaling when you are two people in the same team. All the monsters, they have much more HP, they do more damage, and even when it dies, and I will put you some footage, my build is capable of carrying the both of us. So extremely strong build on bosses, on trash. It's going to really help you going on further on the game. For the people that have not watched the first part, I strongly invite you to go and watch the first part, because what I'm saying here is going to be based on what I said on the first one. The video is called Stop Dying and it's with my name, so it's very easy to find. I'm probably going to put something into the description. Now let's get started. So Act 3 is going to be the hardest part for you for two reasons. First, because the build is not finalized itself during Act 3. It's going to be finalized towards the end, but in the middle of Act 3 you don't have your build that is complete. So you will need to go through this transition period and I will show you how. And the second reason is because Act 3 is very heavy on chaos damage, and chaos is the weakness of the build right now because it eats the shield very quickly, doing double damage, and this build is relying tankiness wise on the shield. So every time that you see a gear that is holding some chaos resistance, you need to keep it. I have a dedicated video on how to improve your gear, so you can check it out, but this is going to be very important because the hardest bosses that you are going to fight are doing chaos damage, and this is very important that you have chaos resistance to face them. So skill wise, we are going to use the following things Act 3. So that's the setup that I have on my character right now. I'm not using it as I'm playing, but just to show you. So the first thing you want to use is arc. This is what I used. I know that a lot of people are using, instead they are using sparks. Here I'm going to go through my stats and yeah, spark. This is a spammer that is very viable. Both of them are very viable. This is a personal choice. I just like Arc better than Spark because it gives me the impression that on bosses it does a little bit more damage with the passive that is increasing the damage that it does by a certain percentage based on the number of chain lightning that is remaining. So Arc is what I'm using as a spammer. The second thing is Frostbomb. Frostbomb is very important for you because this is what is doing your best damage, so you will need it as you are going through. It's also providing you cold exposure, which is going to be important in the second thing. I'm going to talk about it later. Then you do Orb Storm. Orb Storm is just providing you an extra DPS on bosses. It's pretty good. It provides also a shock chance that is going to increase your damage. So Orb of Storms is something that is important. Conductivity, this is nice if you are facing pack of mob that have like an elite or named into them. It's going to help you dealing with them. So that's something that I like because it lowers down the resistance of electricity, of lightning, so arc is doing more damage. You are going to use Arctic Armor at the very beginning of Act 3. This is also something that is nice because it's providing you a little bit more damage if someone is hitting you, so that's probably the best until you get 60 spirit. Mana Tempest is another skill that you want to use. This is something that is creating an AoE, and as long as you stand on it, your DPS is going to increase drastically. But the more you stand, the more DPS you get, but the more mana is going to consume. So on bosses, it's very interesting at the moment where you want to freeze them, you drop your Mana Tempest and then you burst down the bosses. It also helps you when you have pack that you manage to control at a choke point, just to drop the Mana Tempest and to burst them down using Frostwall, which is the following one. So Frostwall has two utility. The first utility you get is if you are on trash, it prevents them to rushing to you directly. So you're gonna place a frost wall and they are not going to hit you. So you are going to block them and they are not going to hit you. I'm going to give you some footage of this later on, or maybe here, I don't know, but you will see how it works. And you protect yourself from the monster. The second use of Frostwall is when he breaks, he shatters, doing massive amount of damage. So on the trash, this is going to help you doing a bit of damage, but where Frostwall really shine, it's on bosses. On bosses, what happens is that the Frostwall is going to shatter and just explode and dealing ton of damage on bosses. Your main source of DPS at this point on bosses is Frostwall, because this is really what is going to kill them. And to deal with that, you want to go Hypothermia. So Hypothermia is not a skill that I recommend on Trash Mob, it's only on bosses. So on bosses, you are going to swap Conductivity for Hypothermia, Frostbite. And this is going to help you killing bosses, because now the main source of damage becomes Frostwall and Frostbomb. Frostbomb providing you exposure to cold, and Frostwall providing you damage to the monster. And the spammer you can do is Arc, but this is just a spammer. It's not something that is really doing a lot of damage on bosses. Now, if we are looking at support gem, Orb of Storm, I like Persistence. Persistence is good because you don't have to worry about it, you just drop it, end of discussion. For Conductivity, you have different things that you can do. I like Magnifying Effect, so you have more area of effect, but this is going to be used for another skill I'm going to talk about later on. So you can use Focus Doom, which is okay, or you can use Impending Doom, which is also okay. It's not really needed to have anything on Conductivity, in my opinion. Arctic Armor, you want to use Clarity, for sure, because you need mana regeneration, so this is really nice. It's just bring you an extra mana regeneration, so you want this. The rest is not really useful. Arc, you want to use Lightning Penetration, sorry. This is pretty nice. This is also good. Chain is also good, but this is more on Trash Mob, and I think overall it's a lack of DPS. So I don't think you should use this, but if you have a lot of Trash Mob, like at the moment you have Scarabs and you have like everywhere Scarabs, potentially this could be good, but I would say just keep Lightning Penetration and that's fine. Frostbomb is very important. You want to have Magnifying Effect, so more area of effect, so it's easier to have the Frostbomb hitting. And the second thing that you want to have is Core Penetration. Core Penetration is pretty good at this point because this is something that is going to give you more damage, so you want to have this and you need more damage right now. If you don't have the skill to support gem, you can use the fast forward, so it explodes quicker. That's another option. Mana Tempest, you definitely want to use Inspiration, so you lower the cost of the spell. It's going to increase drastically, so lowering it by 40% is very important. Frostwall, what you want is not the skill here. You want to go, so by the way, if you go on here, all gem, you see that there is much more gem that you can use. And on this, there is one that, so this is not something you want. Ice Crystal created by support skill have 100% more life. You don't want this. You want your Ice Wall to die. You want them to shatter on bosses, and you want them to shatter on monsters, because it's going to help you tremendously. So you don't want to go Glacier. To the opposite. You want to have exactly the opposite, which is Icicle. Icicle is 50% less life, so your wall is going to shatter much quicker. So Icicle is extremely important for you. So you want to go Icicle, and the second thing that you want to go for Frostwall is where is it? Because that's actually what I'm using right now. So Ingenuity, 30% reduced cooldown. This is going to help you tremendously on bosses because you will be able to have the free stack of Frostwall much quicker. So and control destruction. But this is, to me, the last thing that you can do. So you do first ingenuity, then icicle, and then eventually control destruction. By the way, as you hear, if you don't know how to increase the number of support gem on a skill, what you can do is you go on stage, you go on orb, and using this. So this, when you right click on the skill, I'm not going to do it because this is quite rare, you are moving from 2 support slots possible to 3 support slots. And I guess I'm not here yet, but this one is going to increase even further, and this one is going to increase even further. At the end, your skill is going to have 5 slots for support gem. So if you want to increase, you can use it. Definitely on Frostwall, I think it's worth it. It's probably like the priority you want. And then you need to keep another one for cast on freeze. We are going to see this a little bit later. Okay, so talent-wise, this is where we left you. Just a quick summary of what we're trying to do right now. What we're trying to do is we're trying to build something that is balanced between damage and survivability. So we have a lot of nodes that are around the shield, like these ones, like these ones. And we have nodes that are providing damage, but that are damage for everything. So you have cold damage and you have storm damage, because this is what you need. So my recommendation here is you keep going to build tankiness, and you are going to go through those nodes here. This is quite interesting because it's going to increase your recharge rate, which is something that you need, because if you get it and you need to recharge your shield, you want it to be as quick as possible so you have less chance of dying. So this is all recharge rate. So this is giving you like very nice recharge rate. Then what I propose you do just after is you start to go here, here, and from there you have 2 options. You can either start building cold damage, which I think is my recommendation. So you're doing in that order, this one, then you go and you pick up that one, and that one. This is the part where you actually start doing big damage with the cold. It's going to help you a lot on bosses. The second option, but it's you start either by this or you do the second option first, but you need to do both, I think. You go here and you take that point. So this point is very important because it's also creating you more shield. You have a slow start of energy shield recharge, but you don't really mind this because you have quite a lot of buff on energy shield recharge. What you need is 60% maximum energy shield. So this is really, really nice. When you have this, I think to me, you have the core of the build that I'm proposing to you. A lot of shield recharge from here. You have a lot of shield from all those points. You have some energy shield recharge rate, which is really nice. So, and here you have a lot of shield as well. You have some damage with the skills. You don't need to have more damage overall. The second thing that I haven't talked in the previous video is the ascendancy. Obviously, for this build, you want to go Stormweaver. This is extremely strong, and you have 2 options actually. When you are in Act 3, I think the best option to me at this point is to go Tempest Caller. This is really, really nice because you have a lot of crit right now in the build, and the fact that you have a bit more crit and that you have the chance to trigger that elemental storm is going to bring you more damage. Later on, what we want, but this is not yet, but what we want is we are going to remove those 2 points and we are going to go to Arcane Surge. This is a must-have for the build later on. So depending where you are on the build, you can go for either Tempest Caller, or when you have the full build with Cast and Freeze, I think it's better to go on Arcane Surge here. At the beginning, I will keep it with this because it helps you going through this transition period. So Tempest Caller is the way. By the way, if you're not sure how to have the ascendancy on your class, there is a quest in the second act in normal difficulty where you need to kill a boss and then you need to attend a trial where you have different room and you choose some affix that is going to apply on the room, and at the end you get to choose which class you want to ascend to, and you have 2 points in here. The second time that you have to face this again is going to be in Act 3, so this is what we are talking about, and the Act 3 one is like the Act 2, it's pretty hard, so I recommend you do it at the end of the act and not at the beginning, otherwise it's going to be pretty hard for a new player. And you will have to do the same, it's different room, and at the end of Act 3 you will have 2 more points, and we will see where we are putting them. Please note as I'm sharing this build that it's completely normal if during the leveling of Act 3 you don't have all those nodes. This is the goal of what you need to aim for. So I think in the Act 3 you're not going to have all of this, so that's why I was saying that the question is whether you want to go more tanky or you want to go more DPS. This is personal choice. I think both options are viable. I'm more like a tank player in general, and I like to tank when I'm doing any kind of games like this, so this is why I go for the more tanky option. But if you want to go more damage, I think it's completely viable. So yeah, that's up to you, but don't worry if you don't have everything here. Just a quick note on this node, which is a jowl socket. So I'm going back to my to the game, and I will explain you how it works. Okay, so back into the games, as you see, this is my skill tree. It's very similar to what I told you. There is some change, but I will explain you as we are going along. So I have this, and this is a socket. So this is something that you can loot. Please note that the jowl like this, they are pretty rare. So my recommendation is that you are crafting them using the orbs. So if it's a rare quality, using the orb of augment to increase the stats, and then moving on to a rare, and then if you have those ones to increase the number of substat. If you're not sure how to do that, I have a video that is dedicated to improve your gear, and I'm talking about those very basic craft things that you can do, so please have a look at it. Okay, so this is a lot of information for going to Act 3, and in the next part of the video we are going to talk about the transition to the final build of that I recommend. So at some point in the Act 3, you are going to unlock, through a quest, more spirits. So you're going to move from 30 spirits to 60 spirits, increasing your maximum amount of spirit that you have. And that's the first thing, and you will have a spirit gem, level 2, where you will have the choice of choosing cast on freeze, cast on shock, and cast on ignite. And all the build is going to be around cast on freeze. So by all means, please take cast on freeze. This is very important, because if you don't take cast on freeze, that means that you will need to drop another gem that will allow you to choose cast on freeze. So this is the way to go, cast on freeze. When you get cast on freeze and you have 60 spirit, this is the trigger warning for you to know that you need to start the transition to the build that I'm proposing to you, which is going to be the following skills. I'm going to cut the video here because the initial video was so long that I'm going to lose most of you anyway. So there is going to be a part 3 of this guide that is going to arrive. This is the part where I'm focusing on the Act 3, the transitioning between what I showed you on the first part and the final build that is going to rely on cast and freeze. In the next video, I'm going to show you how I build the cast and freeze build, how does that operate on bosses, and how does that operate in open world as well. Thank you for watching this video. If this helped you, please leave a sub, a like, and a comment. As you see, the channel is very young, so every sub counts and is going to help me tremendously. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next video.